Well, look, it emerged today that patients with an acquired brain injury are waiting for up to 2 years for access to the National Rehabilitation Hospital in Dún Laoghaire here in Dublin. With just 3 beds available in the hospital for patients with complex or severe brain injuries, campaigners say it's a sign of underfunding in the entire area. Many families involved also feel that their loved ones, they're neglected by the health service here and don't receive adequate treatments that might help in their recovery. Well, earlier today, I went to Tuam in County Galway to speak to Joe Grogan, whose son Shane has had a very severe brain injury since he was assaulted 4 years ago.
Okay, Miriam is coming in to see you now. All right. Okay, that'll be great.
Yeah. Hi, Joe.
Hello, Miriam. How are you?
Lovely to meet you.
Welcome to our Swira.
This is
Shane, our son. Yeah.
Hi, Shane. How are you? I'm Miriam. How are you? So
Yeah.
tell me about your wonderful son, Shane.
Shane had his birthday last week. He's 27. He worked as in the finance department of Merit Medical in Galway, a medical devices company, and he was a great athlete. He loved his swimming and running and cycling. Yeah, his sister Sarah and lovely nephew Harry, who was just a year old, and.
So what happened?
So on the night, the 4th of August 2012, Shane had attended the Galway races and he backed a few winners. He was texting me all day. I met him afterwards, went for a couple of pints, as you do, celebrating, and he was buying for the pub. And I left him around 10:30, and then I got a phone call about 2:30 in the morning. It was Shane's number that came up, and so I thought, here we go, he's locked out now, or there's something, trivial. Yeah. And then, unfortunately, it was his girlfriend screaming down the phone at us to say that Shane got hurt. And it was a blur as to how we got up and just got to him in the next 5 minutes or so. But yeah, Shane had been attacked and he was hit by a brick in the back of the head, and he was on the ground, he was unconscious. The guards obviously were called in the ambulance, and then we got him into University College Hospital in Galway. And they transferred him from there then to Beaumont in Dublin, where he was operated on the following morning. And then he was brought to Dún Laoghaire for some rehabilitation. So he spent 90 days there and left there. Unfortunately, there was really no plan for Shane when he left. It was kind of up to ourselves. He was sent back to Galway again. So he stayed 6 months then, I think, there, and then he was moved here to the Swira nursing home in Tuam.
And I know, because I've been here, they're absolutely wonderful here, and you say that. But it's not the place you want Shane to be. You feel he needs much more, don't you? He
does. He deserves much more. 2 treatments that he does get, you can see it in him. You can see responses straight away. We have a neurophysiotherapist coming in. He started there 2 weeks ago, and instantly you could see Shane's reactions. And it's great to see it, but again, it's only 3 days a week. It's not enough. And we need more people to help Shane. Like, an occupational therapist should be here every day and helping Shane. We heard about Leamington Spa rehabilitation in the UK. I just basically picked up the phone and rang them and said, can you help us out? And there was never an issue. Okay, the only issue came when it came to financing it. Now, we're very lucky here that we have some great fundraising events, and a lot of money has been raised for Shane, solely for Shane's care. So we accessed funds through that, and some of it was reimbursed through the HSE, but it was a bit of a battle. Again, it's hard enough and tough enough being here with Shane on a daily basis and having to see this, see him in this condition. But to have to fight for his basic rights, it's not Shane's fault that he's here. And he deserves every chance, as does everyone in his condition, to improve their life. And that's what it's about. On Sale, our new organisation, Life. If we could make it easier, if Minister Harris could make it a little bit easier for us to access the funds, to get the proper treatments to Shane into the nursing homes around Ireland, where all these young people are. It's not an ideal situation, as we say, but it is home, it is Tuam. We're great to have him here. He's only 5 minutes to walk away from us. But let the people come to him. Rather than have us to go again looking at Germany or France or, God forbid, America.
Do you feel anger or sadness that you have to fight like this for treatments?
It's anger. It's when you pick up the phone and you're looking for help and someone at the other end of the line doesn't understand where you are. That, it's paperwork and it's filling a form, and You have to think, my God, if you sat in, or you walked in my shoes for 5 minutes or come down to see Shane, you wouldn't be doing all this. You wouldn't be putting these obstacles in front of us to try and achieve our goal.
How big an impact on your life has what happened, Shane?
It's been devastating, Miriam. You know, the fun that we used to have at birthday parties, of course, the life and soul. Our own lives are upside down. You know, for the last 4 years, Joan basically has never left his side. I think in the 4 years she's missed about 20 days through illness or whatever. When he was in Dún Laoghaire, she stayed in Dublin. When she went into Leamington, she moved over to Birmingham. Again, you know, she's an angel, I'll say it. You know, what more? Well, I know a lot of people said she's the mother, but she was brilliant. Unfortunately, like a lot of families, we're left to our own devices. We left Beaumont to come back to Galway, and they arrived in Galway, didn't know what to do, and we were since then trying to achieve our little goals. Like, we're not looking for a miracle cure, but the simple thing like a yes and no, if he could indicate to us through a movement of his finger or something, yes and no, so that, like I said, if he had an itchy nose, he'd be able to tell us.
What's your hope for Shane?
Well, our hope and our long-term goal is to bring him home. It's our life. You know, what else would you do? I mean, you know, we're not going to leave him on his own. He's, you know, he's a fine man, like I say, and you know, we'll do our best for him, and with the help of God, he will improve, and that's all we can do.
He's a beautiful young man.
Takes after his mother.
Yeah. Thanks for talking to me today,
Okay,
Joe,
brilliant.
and
Thank you.
introducing me to Shane.
Yeah.
Thanks, Shane. Joe and Shane Grogan with me earlier in Tuam. I'm now joined by Dr. Mark Delargy, the Clinical Director of the National Rehabilitation Hospital here in Dún Laoghaire. Thanks very much for coming in tonight. I've been listening there to Joe, and I know his wife Joan, and there's another young man like him, Warwick Shaler, in the same situation with his parents battling. Is it just the system doesn't give enough care for those young men?
I think you listen there to Shane's dad, Joe, and I mean, he talks about anger, and we feel sad that there isn't a better system in place for people like Shane. I think we're looking at improvement in the situation in that within 3 years we'll have a brand new hospital with 120 beds, and you said in the introduction that you would have 3 beds for this group. That will increase to 5. So that's a brand new hospital, 120 beds. It's a big improvement on what we've got at the minute. However, if you turn back to 2005, we were looking for double that number of beds. We almost got it, and then the crash happened. So we still need those beds. We may not need them all at the NRH in Dublin. They could be dispersed through the country, but we do need them, and there are waiting lists, and we can't avoid that.
And I hear you mention that that hospital will happen. Is it 3 years, you said? But meanwhile, I suppose you have the Shane Grogans, you have the Warwick Shalers, these young men. So are we saying in this country that because resources are currently limited, we just forego those young men, we give up on them?
No, we have a plan in place, and that is we've been knocking on the door of the HSE. We know that we have a staffing bill of 4 million with the HSE to say give us 64 new staff throughout the whole system, and we will do a better job. Because the quality of what we do, I am very assured, is as good as anywhere in the world. But the volume and the waiting times are appalling.
And I hear you, but is it? Because I know in places like Germany, and I know in Morning Ireland in the morning, they'll be showing that example, that in Germany, it's almost like the gold standard. Is that what we should aim for here?
Gold standard in terms of volume. I happen to be the chair of the Clinical Affairs Committee of the European Society of Rehabilitation Medicine. So I'm very much, and my colleague in Cork who joins me in the meetings in Europe, we're very much involved and understand where the shortfall is. The shortfall is not quality, the shortfall is volume of beds and numbers of staff to do high quality job. Most people who come through the NRH are very happy. They're not happy waiting, and they're not happy after they leave. So a further aspect that we need to resolve is this question for Shane, and it is, can we improve his care in the community? And some of that can be done with a different bill of fare, which is we need high cost care systems for people who leave the NRH and go home and are looked after. Hopefully not all in nursing homes, some can go home
Because the ideal, I assume, is, and I know the families think that, is that you bring your young son home and that hopefully within his home environment he has the best chance of getting better. But they need the treatments at home, like the physio, the OT, to, I suppose, help their son improve.
True, and I think that the challenge here is that no country has got this solved. The information, in this situation, the Americans had to bring in a Traumatic Brain Injury Act, a full piece of legislation back in 1996, reviewed it 3 times, and they are saying you've got to fight to put the resources in for people in this. So should we be doing that? We should be doing something similar, because we're not winning this war. We were looking for double the beds. We've got 120. We're delighted about that. But we're sad that these situations are going to continue because we do not have the resources, the number of beds, and we have to do better, because these stories are heartrending and we need to do better. And
can we give them any hope tonight, like the Joe and the Shane and all those other families? Is there hope for their young sons tonight, that something will change in the immediate future for them?
In the immediate future, we're talking the 3-year plan, 3 beds up to 5, high quality staffing that we need for that, and then the petition that we have and the document that we have with the HSE is saying, give us the resources between 2.5 and 3 million to make these home care programmes better. OK, Mark Delargy, I appreciate you coming in tonight. Dave.
That's it for tonight. Our next news bulletin is on RTE News Now at 11 o'clock. For now, though, from Miriam and myself and everyone on the team, thanks for watching and good night.